So I'm going to say good evening to everyone on the outside, and I'm going to also say good evening to my guest. She is on each and every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. I'm going to say good evening to Erin. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm fantastic. You look fantastic, by the way.
Thank you. I put on the red lipstick for you today. I thought a pop of color.
I'll take it. No, I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. So, how was your weekend? How was your week so far?
You know what? My weekend was great. I did a little exploring of my own little town and took some rest and relaxation time, hung out with my mom, and just had a great weekend.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, you're on every week. So, just do me a favor, the usual, just let the people know who you are for all the new listeners and let them know what this whole show is about.
Yeah, so I'm Erin. I'm a self love and divorce recovery coach, and I empower women and men to become the heroes and heroines of their own epic love story. So, a lot of times after we get out of a divorce, we get out of a breakup, we lose ourselves and we're like, I don't know who the hell I am anymore. And I'm here to tell you that that can be done a hell of a lot faster than you doing it on your own.
Mm.
And I'm going to help you do that. So today we are actually going to talk about one of the pillars in my coaching program, which is mindset. And to be quite honest, when you come out of, like I said, when you come out of that divorce and your breakup, you need to have the right mindset. And I wish that someone would have said this to me earlier. But one of the things that is really important in your journey through this is accepting where you're at and not feeling resentful or regretful for the situation, no matter how shitty it is or how much it hurt you. But being able to accept the fact that it happened and where you're at and get to a point where you can forgive yourself depending on what the situation is. So for me, it was staying in a marriage for too long. And then what you do with that, once you get to that place, you are able to assess the situation a little bit more. You're able to start asking questions with because it takes two to tango. There's two people in a relationship. Your ex, yes, they had a part in it, but you also had one too. So start to look at the different ways that you know you contributed to the relationship and possibly the demise of it. And was there anything that you could have done differently, or um, you know look at things, maybe I could have done something in that situation. So just being able to look at a relationship kind of like in a bird's eye view and very objectively, just to kind of be like, oh, you know what? Okay, I could have done something there, or, I did let that slide, so that you can start being able to move forward from it and not holding all this resentment. Yeah, and like looking at any red flags that you might have missed. I know that looking back at my relationship, there was a whole bunch of red flags that I just completely like drove right by. So, yeah, just being aware and mindful, and just being curious with your relationship. And I would say the second step to getting over a breakup or getting over a divorce, I mean, I will say this, um, it's not an easy process. Going through a divorce and getting onto the other side of it, it's like hitting a reset button. So basically, if you can take a look at this situation, this experience that you've had, and instead of looking at it like a negative thing, start looking at it as a positive experience for yourself to, reset your life. How can you reset the path that you're on? Are there anything that you want to do in your life that you're not doing right now? And one of the ways that you can do that is put your life into segments. So if you put your life into, like, segment 1 is love and relationships. Segment 2 is nutrition and food. Segment 3 is spirituality. Segment 4 is your growth and education. So if you can kind of put your life in segments and then take each segment and give it a vote out of 10. So if you do 1 being, oh my God, that's terrible, and 10 being, oh my God, I'm thriving in this part of my life, you can kind of go through each of those segments. And then again, this is taking a bird's eye view of your life and where you're at right now, and seeing, you know what, where can I improve? You know what, I hate my job. So how can I improve that situation? Okay, well, I can go back to school and do a couple courses, or I can go mentor and be an apprentice with someone and learn more about what I want to do. Do I want to start a new hobby? Do I want to start painting? Do I want to, start doing a running club? And really the key is here is have such a full life. So basically, when you get out of your relationship, you don't have a life, but what you're going to do is you're going to start creating your life. You're going to get a life, is what I like to say. So um, finding things where, you see if you're lacking in some area, start to look how you can, bump that number up. Because when you start working on those other things, you're going to be really impressed with how other things start to fall into place, and how, you begin to feel joy more, you begin to feel happiness. You're, you're creating better relationships with your friends, with your family, and putting importance on things that are not a relationship,
So what would be
so
your
that you
advice? What would be your advice to, as you said, to bump it up? If what would be your advice as someone in that situation? Or, what would you said that you to bump it up. What would you do or advise them to do?
Yeah, so it would depend on the segment that you're working on. So if it is like self-care, okay, well, how can I make self-care work for me? What can I do to provide joy? Maybe I need to take a bubble bath every other night, or, every Friday night. Maybe I need to start doing more meditation because I, experience a lot of stress. Maybe I need to start journaling or start writing a book because I really love writing, and I feel like I get my ideas and my feelings out better than I do talking, or, just having them sit in my head and fester. So just there's lots of different ways depending on the segment that you're looking at that can bump up that number. Like, picking up a course or two, reconnecting your relationships with friends and family. That's a huge thing. So if in a relationship you've kind of distanced yourself from, let's say, your friends and your family, because sometimes that happens when we get busy and with family and relationships, is that people kind of fall to the wayside because we get busy. So maybe it's reaching out, and I completely understand that it is COVID times. So setting up a Zoom call with your grandma, or your, mom, or your friend in Vancouver. Like, it's filling your time with things that give you joy. So really discovering what gives you joy in all of these aspects. What makes you happy? And that's going to help you bump up that number. And then hopefully you're going to see that your numbers are going to slowly all get to 10.
Okay. And today when you say you're about mindset, this was a question I asked someone, they asked me the same question.
Mm-hmm.
What is my definition of mindset? So for you, what would you tell them your definition of mindset for, women or men in that situation?
So mindset, again, this is different for everyone. But I believe it's the way that we look at things and our viewpoints on things. And as we grow from a small child, we have lots of experiences, we have lots of perspectives, but we begin to have this like sheet, I guess I could say, on our brains and our vision, that we see things a certain way, but then we, experience something else and it changes our vision, it changes our perception. And sometimes, like in my situation, I didn't know that this mindset was possible because I was stuck in a very negative mindset. But taking in different experiences and being open to, different experiences and speaking with different people and just learning to see life a different way, I think that's really the definition of mindset. It's how you see life in general.
Um, I have a question here, Ashley. This is from David. David is asking, say hi. Hi, Aaron. My question to you is, what would you consider too early to start dating again?
Well, I was actually just having this conversation with a client today. Um, and again, like I think this depends on the person, but I do think that there needs to be a level of self awareness and knowing of yourself and being able to trust yourself because I know, after a big bad breakup, if I try to go into a relationship, I'm gonna be going in guns a-blazing, like, let's get into a relationship and like do all the things. But and sometimes you just want to fill that void with someone else. But if you're able to go into that situation and take it slow and learn and to get to know the person instead of like, you know, spending every night together and then, sleeping over on weekends and then getting to know their family the next weekend. I mean, for some people, that's great. But in terms of a timeline, I can't give you an exact day because it is different for everyone. But I think you need to definitely give yourself time to heal
Okay.
and self reflect on why did this happen. And not saying it was on you or the other person, but it was a collaborative um, result that this happened. So if you're able to, understand what happened and have dealt with the feelings of sadness and depression or whatever feelings you have felt, and have built a life outside of a relationship, because the question you need to ask is that if you get into another relationship and that relationship goes away, do you have a life outside of that? So it's about living in living in your life of love and just having someone accent it so that when your relationship ends up, let's say you break up within 6 months, you still have a life and you still have this like incredible love for yourself in your life that you're like, I'm good. I'm sad, but I'm good.
And Janice is asking, what would you advise for someone who keeps going back to a natural disaster?
Oh, girl, I have gone back to natural disasters, and I think it's all about being aware. Congratulations, you are aware because you're asking this question, but it's asking why. Why are you going back to this person if they treat you like shit and they're a natural disaster going to come blow through your town? Like, is there things that have happened in your past that you're like, oh, you know what? I feel like I am equating this person to my father or whoever, or you have another ex-boyfriend that, you're just so you haven't really gotten over. So you're trying to fill that void with someone like him. So it's a matter of just being curious with yourself. And maybe that's writing in a journal and being like, okay, like what is it that I see that I want to be with the person? And what are the things that are, what are the things that are bringing me back to him? And just to see it full out on a piece of paper is often good, just to be like, okay, shit, I gotta figure stuff out.
Okay, and then Orlando. Yeah, Orlando, it looks like. She asked you, basically, she said, advice. Okay, she said advice. I'm in a relationship, but it's not a strong relationship. It's a friend with benefit relationship.
Mm-hmm.
The person wants more, but she's not ready to give more. Advice in how to not blow a good thing.
That is that I want to also state, because every time I come on this amazing show, I hope people don't think I'm a therapist, because I'm a coach. I'm not a therapist, but I will give you my unsolicited advice that friends with benefits are hard, because what happens is that there's always feelings that get wrapped into the mix. And either or whoever it is, someone's going to get hurt. And now that he has voiced his opinion that he wants a relationship with you, unfortunately, I don't know if you are going to, you most likely are going to have a huge conversation about boundaries. But I don't think that, from my experience, that if someone has voiced their, their like for you, or they want something more, and the other person doesn't, I don't think that there is a possibility that a physical relationship can happen, because that those feelings are going to grow. So either you stay friends without all the, the fun, and, build that relationship, and maybe in a year you'll be like, yeah, you're my boo. Like, let's go. But until then, until you separate yourselves because he wants more and you want a friendship, it's only fair to him that you kind of keep it separated.
Okay. And Janice is asking, how do you manage to, or how did you manage to get over a bad thing?
Well, it's a lot of the things that I have talked about. So accepting where I'm at, assessing where my life is, where my life needs some work, but
Knife?
also
Did you just say
life,
knife, Aaron? I just joke.
life,
I'm just
life. Um,
that
yeah. So
knife.
just the one thing that I still have yet to get to, and I will now, is basically, and I know this sounds super super corny, but it's basically creating an, I'd like to call it an adventure board. So basically it's my version of the, vision board. But because I think of life as an adventure, and you're going through an inner adventure when you're going through a divorce or a breakup, the adventure board is basically what you want your life to look like. So it, to me, I put whatever my life adventure is going to be. So whether that's travel, like where do I want to travel? And I know, like, we're in lockdown, but we're not going to be in lockdown forever. There's like, we're going to get back to doing things. So start imagining your trips. Start like pasting pictures down, and you don't have to use magazines because those are non-existent now, but set up a PowerPoint and start placing pictures, or some other computer program that allows you to cut and paste pictures, and start placing those pictures of, Italy or Australia, and, start taking pictures of relationships that you want, like pictures of people really in love, taking quotes, so that you're putting yourself in this vision board, and you can look at this and you're like, yeah, this is the feeling I want, this is the life that I want, and continue to like prune it and like add to it, but really start to actually live it. So that way you are living it on your own before you even have a person. So, what I like to call them self-love dates. So the one thing that I like to do when getting through my breakup and my divorce is taking myself on dates, like making myself a really incredible meal and buying a big expensive bottle of wine and treating myself, taking yourself to the movies. Do the things that you want to do, and do them on your own. Like, you don't need a partner to do that.
Yeah.
So it's basically create the life you want, imagine that life, put it all on paper, and then start actioning. Take action. What am I trying to say? Take action with intention.
Yes, exactly. Love
I'm
it.
losing my words today. But yeah, start actively producing this life. Start planning your trips. Start, looking at dating sites if that's what you want to do. Start looking at how you can do that authentically because there are ways. Start, building a business. Do you want to start a business? Do you want to really, it's just focus your attention on that because if when you start building your life the way you want it, you're going to get real busy and then you're not really going to care. Well, you're going to care,
Yeah,
but you're not going to be focusing on another person because you're going to be so busy with your own stuff.
yeah, I agree. I agree. And online, I saw you guys were actually you're supposed to be at a seminar or something like that. Tell us a little bit about that. I saw it online with you
Yeah.
other
So
companies. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to be speaking at the Women Empowering Women conference on March 28th. So that's a Sunday at 1:30, and it's for Ottawa Valley, but it's all virtual. So really, you could, tune in from anywhere, and it's going to be a really cool event. I'm
Okay.
always about, empowering women, obviously, and making sure that everyone knows really that they have a choice to live the life that they want. So I'm excited to do that.
Awesome. And this is your show, so I'm going to ask you some questions on it. Do you have any idea of what you're going to talk about when you get there? Are you prepared and ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a lot about taking life on like an adventure. You know, life is full of challenges that are fire breathing dragons that you need to overcome. Like just being able to, get through that like a warrior female, however that is for you. Like whether that's for me, it's Tomb Raider, whatever superhero woman you want to be, but you always have a choice and listen to like your gut. And life is an adventure. It doesn't have to be mediocre. You have the capability of making life what it is for you.
So let me ask another questions. When you guys go on stage, you hear your colleagues go up first and they say what they have to say. When you go after, do you in
Get
any
nervous? Yes.
I know you get nervous, but in any way do you change anything in between of what you wrote and because of what your colleagues said that you want to add to what they were talking about?
Yeah, I think that is a valid point where, if I have an experience when listening to another person's talk or speech and they say something really great, I will, mention it in mine and like commend that other person for, talking about that. Or, if there is a topic that is resonating within the conference that I don't have in my topic. And if it relates to what I'm talking about, I'll add it in. And I think that's the beauty of experiences and conferences. And I used to run them myself, is that you can get inspired by any talk, by any person that you meet. And it's just a beautiful way to share stories and information. I mean, yeah, I'm a big fan.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward because I said I'm gonna check it out because I did see the post today, and I did say I'm gonna check it out and I'm gonna ask you some questions about it because
Yeah.
I never heard about it, and I saw you're on there with some of our colleagues as well too, who's been there with you. Are you excited for this day? I mean,
I am always excited to be with people and talk to people and share stories and just bring positivity to the world. That is really all I'm about. And, making people feel good and not alone.
yeah,
And so through all of this, I hope whoever is listening that know that you're not alone. There are so many people going through a divorce, breakups, and feeling sad and alone, but you're not
okay,
because there are many people suffering
yeah,
through that.
yeah, I agree with you 100%. I have one question here from Michael. Michael is asking, can you share us a story on how you got over your breakup?
Well, it was a long process, and it was a lot of doing self work and just experiencing things. And I had to like push myself to go out to events, and I had to like, I date. So back to the question about dating too early, I dated too early, and I realized that I was just trying to fill a void. And so working through that, and I did a lot of work with my self-worth because I believed in my head that having a relationship and having a person in my life meant that I was successful, meant that I was good enough. So it's working on that inner negative talk that is telling me that, I wasn't good enough. And obviously building my life and doing the things that I want to do and building my business and seeing that I actually could do everything I've set out to do and now have the confidence to do. I think that really is it, is like knowing your worth and seeing your value.
Okay, and Amy is asking, wow. She's
Oh
been,
no.
yeah, when I read these questions, oh wow, this is getting kind of deep now. She's asking, um, how long did it take you to get out to the to get over or to realize that you are ready to date, and what made you realize you made the mistake of moving too fast?
Well, when I knew that I could feel like it was just filling a void. And there's one instance where I was in a relationship, and the guy was absolutely great. He was awesome. But I just, I couldn't, I didn't like him the way that I wanted to like him. And I had all of this anxiety, and it was really just my gut saying, you're not ready yet. So, um, yeah, like reading a lot of like self-development books kind of helped me work through that. But I think when you start to feel effortless and confident in who you are, that's when you're ready to date.
Uh, You know what? Every week, it gets interesting these questions, and I know I realize they give you some very difficult
Oh,
questions.
I forgot. So I didn't answer the part of the question where, sorry, what was the end question?
Uh,
I'll do it real quick because I know we only have a couple
no,
minutes.
it's okay. It's okay. The question that where you answered the one how did you get over it? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the one you
Oh,
said.
how did I get over it?
Yeah, what did you do? You say you went to parties and you went on dates. And how did you realize that this person was a mistake? What made you realize this person was a mistake?
What? Okay, so my ex or just
Well, there's this
boyfriend
they saying remember you were
in
saying
general? Okay.
you're dating and then you realize, oh, you know what, this is a mistake. What am I doing? Oh, what that
Yeah.
even felt like then basically.
Yeah. So I guess I was kind of answering that where you just have an inner feeling. And usually for me, that means this feeling of something's just not right. And being able to lean into that and knowing that, when I think about dating, like, how do I feel about it? Am I in the right headspace? And just feeling, again, like feeling that confidence in yourself, and you feel really excited about your life and where you are. I think that's when you're ready to date. When you're not ready to date, I feel like you're still dealing with the demons of your last relationship. You're still feeling sad. You're wanting to fill a void. You're Yeah, again, it's different for everyone, but I think when you're not ready, but you have to be willing to like sit with yourself and feel it, because you will continue to just, swing those elevator doors and bring people through if you're not able to deal with the feelings, whatever those are, whether it's self-worth, confidence, any of that. They're gonna keep, and that's another sign for me, at least, is that I kept dating and nothing was happening. And it was just like the universe going, Aaron, frick, stop dating. Like, get your shit together,
Mm,
because it's not going to work until you do the work.
mm, I agree. And Veronica, she said one last question before we go. She said next week she wants to know if you can get a topic on letting go.
Yes, I can. 100% can.
Veronica, she's going to do that for you next week, all about letting go. So, Aaron, I want to thank you very, very much. But before
Yeah.
we go, I want you to tell the people if they want to reach out to you, minus Pulse Radio, how will they be able to reach you?
Yeah, so you can reach out on my website. So that's www.thejoytribeco.ca. You can also reach out at Facebook and Insta with the Joy Tribe Co. With the at sign. Oh my God, I'm so old, apparently. And I do have a group that I've been setting up. So please feel free to add yourself to that. I will be putting tips and tricks and videos in there every week. So you can keep up to date and get onto my mailing list. So you can do that all within my website or my Facebook page.
Awesome. Well, Aaron, I want to thank you very, very much. And again, every week, as I said, the questions are getting a little bit harder, but you're doing a fantastic job at answering.
Oh, thank you. Coach/therapist, always ready.
I want to thank you. And then we can do this again next week, same time, same place, same station. You enjoy the rest of your week.
Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks for the questions. See you next week.